Over here on the right, I think this might actually be an example of not adapting as well as I could have. Although I think we haven't actually gotten to the point yet where Gopher loses the two biggest spots of the session. He starts getting more frustrated after this, but at least against a frustrated opponent, I think it's better to raise this flop on the upper right than it is to call. The calling works out well against opponent like Gopher, who's been kind of only firing single barrels and playing pot control with hands and that kind of thing. Because what I'm going to do is call the flop, check the turn, then I'm going to bet the river, and I'm really going to represent like a queen by doing that. And I think whereas he would call a check raise with an eight, I don't know that he's going to call with an eight on the river. If I check call the flop, we check it through, and then I bet the river into him. Um, but that's not going to work against the guy who's going to fire multiple barrels. So if going on the theory that frustrated players are more likely to make multi-barrel bluffs, it might be a better idea not to check and call here. I don't necessarily know that that's the form of frustration, the form that Gopher's frustration is going to take. In general, he's really not a player who's inclined to multi-barrel bluffs, and so I really didn't make the adaptation of calling him down as much. You'll see there are a couple spots where I did make some kind of big folds to him, which arguably, based on that introduction I gave, wouldn't be correct. I'm kind of inclined to say that what I know, or at least what I sort of sensed about this opponent, overrides what I was saying about frustrated opponents in general. But it's far from certain. It's quite possible that I did make some questionable folds. I chose not to bluff at that ace river just because I think that's going to have hit Gopher's hand a lot, and it doesn't really make a lot of sense. I mean, it's not impossible that I checked and called the flop with ace high and then I'm value betting the river, but I think I don't get very much credit on that particular card. I would have bluffed most rivers, but I don't think that was a good one to do it with. Kind of torn on whether I should bet that flop when he three bet and then checks that flop. The thing is, I think he really at this point expects me to bet the flop when he checks to me. When he was the last aggressor pre-flop and then he checks to me. I think that he expects me to bet. I've been doing that a lot. And in this case, if I had a club in my hand, I probably would bet, just because I think it would really improve my equity against his calling range. With a 6-7 offsuit, it wouldn't be the worst idea in the world to just try to take the pot down, but I really don't think he's checking with the intention of giving up. So I could try to fire a multi-barrel bluff, but that's probably not going to be a good idea. I like to give up, at least to give up most turn cards. If an 8 came on the turn, I might have reconsidered. That's probably the only thing that could result in me doing anything other than folding when he bets the turn. I think most of the time he's probably check calling there with like an ace and no club, or maybe like a jack and a club, or pocket queens with a queen of clubs, something like that.